Okay, yeah, perfect. So I'm Andy Imms, 41. No, I'm aging myself. I'm 40 years old, from Bromsgrove in Worcestershire originally, but I've lived down in Bournemouth for close on 15 years now, so down in Dorset. Um, yeah, I've been running ultras since about 2017. So I wasn't really a runner at school. I used to like cross country, but I was never a winner. Was always kind of like mid to back of the packer. Um, as I got into my 20s, I used to enjoy running. I used to enjoy going out doing maybe a 10K, 10 miles at most. Started increasing the distance when a friend of mine signed up for the Rat Race 30 weekend 20-mile obstacle race. He did that the first year, and that gave me the inspiration to get my distances up to 20 miles and do it the following year. Um, then, yeah, once I'd done that for a couple of years, I knew that 20 miles was doable. I kind of stepped it up to about 30. And then I remember seeing somewhere online, there was like this 100-mile race, and it was, I think it was in the Cotswolds, but it was over like 4 days. And that kind of distance, that number, it just kind of wowed me a little bit. I was like, wow, look, humans can actually run 100 miles. Didn't even know this was a thing. And this was over 4 days. So this was kind of a couple of 20-mile days and like a 30-mile day. Anyway, I never ended up doing that race, but I got interested in ultra marathons, interested in what was out there. And then in 2017, I just kind of ramped up my maximum distance. So when I'd started 2017, the most I'd ever run before was about 30 miles. Then I signed up for my first ultra, the Brecon to Cardiff Ultra, in February of 2017. So that ended up being about, well, it was marketed at 70K. I think it ended up, being about 46 miles I ran in that one. So that was in the February. Then I signed up off the back of that to my first 110K and my first 100 miler in the July and the September. So I did the 110K ultimate trails over the Lake District. And then my first 100 miler in September of that year was the Robin Hood 100 in Sherwood Forest. So yeah, within the space of about kind of 7 months, I'd gone from running 30 miles to 100 miles. And yeah, then I got a taste for it. Then as soon as I completed that 100 miles, I thought beforehand that potentially I was going to be completely broken. And I got to the end and there was more in the tank. So I thought, well, yeah, what else is possible? So the following year, I did the Jurassic Coast 100, so 100 miles across the Jurassic Coast. I finished that, but I finished that in kind of last place. And to me at the time, it was all about just completing the distance. There was never any intention to compete. I just wanted to prove to myself that I could do that. And then when I did do that, signed up to a couple more then. Had a couple of DNFs. So I did the Cotswold Way Century, I think in 2019. I DNF'd that after about 100K of the 100 miles. And in my head, I knew I didn't need to, but I'd given up in my mind, but physically I hadn't. And then just after kind of COVID first lockdown, I did the Climb Southwest North Coast 110, so 110 miles in South Devon. That ended up being on the wettest day since records began. I ended up getting trench foot and had to DNF after 102 miles of the 110. So those two back-to-back DNFs just really, it was a bit of a wake-up call for me, really. So I thought, I'm never going to let that happen again. So I went back the following year to do the Climb Southwest North Coast 110. Made sure I'd invested loads in the right sort of clothing, the right nutrition. I made a bit of a plan. And I went back that year and finished that in third place. So, yeah, so then that made me think, no, you know what? I could actually potentially compete in these races. And then in 2021 or 2022, I did the Jurassic Extinction, so 120 miles across the Jurassic Coast. And I won that race and got what was the fastest known time at the time. So I've kind of progressed to kind of where I am now. And in the last couple of years, I've done a couple of backyard ultras, the Portland Pig Backyard Ultra down this way in Dorset. I've got the assist both times. So yeah, this is going to be my third backyard ultra, but yeah, I'm not intending to only be the assist this time. I'm coming to win. So the person who's ended up winning the Portland Pig the last 2 years, it's the same person. It's Luke Carter, and he's actually taking part in this race. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Luke. He's pipped me both times. So the first year I did 28 loops, so about 116 miles. I was feeling really good, but then I kind of lay down on the floor between loops after loop 27, stood up and jarred my back. I instantly knew something was wrong, managed to complete another loop, but I was in agony. No, in fact, I didn't complete the next loop. I had to kind of cut it short about a mile in. And so that was disastrous. So I was feeling good and I felt confident I could have gone on and won that. Then last year I did 32 loops, but it was 5 days after I'd raced London Marathon. So my legs were quite weak because I'd gone out and did just over 3 hours in the London Marathon. So yeah, I was exhausted by the end. My legs were absolutely killing. So yeah, that one I kind of couldn't really go any further. But this time I've got no races the week before. I've got just plenty of time focusing solely on this race. Doing between 80 and 120 miles a week training at the moment. So my primary focus is this. My goal for this is I'm thinking do at least 48 loops, at least 200 miles. That's what I'm trying to get my head around psychologically. So in terms of a minimum goal, I want to be in the UK team for the World Teams Championship in October. So if I do at least 48 loops, who knows where it goes after that. But if I don't win, and I know there's some good runners that are taking part, and 4 of the runners I noticed were in the World Team Championship last time. If I don't win, if I can get high enough up that at large list, then that should secure my place. But yeah, I'm going with the intention of, providing no injuries happen or kind of any worst case scenarios, I'm going with the intention of doing at least 2 days and hopefully more. I want to surprise myself. Yeah, well, I mean, it's one of those with the backyard ultra, isn't it? Because the camaraderie and everything like that, you're running with people for the whole time, that while it is a competition, you also kind of need each other to get you to cover those distances as well. So yeah, I do feel like I need to get one over on Luke. And if I'm the winner and Luke's the assist, that'd be amazing. But I think both of us last time at Portland Pig wanted to do over 48 loops, and because I dropped out, we couldn't do that. So I think, yeah, he'll be going for the same again and more. So yeah, it would be great if the 2 of us were the top 2, but I know that there's some fierce competition there, which makes it exciting because the more people that are going to be still doing loops once you get to 100 miles, 150 miles, if you've got kind of 10 plus people still running, then it just means that race is going to go further. Most people are going to be hitting personal bests. And yeah, you've just got more chance of getting yourselves up that leaderboard on the at-large list and representing the UK later in the year. So yeah, so I don't know really. I think when I've done backyards before, I don't tend to just stick with the same people. I mean, the good thing about the Portland Pig, having done it for 2 years, the second year I probably knew about a third to half of the runners there from the previous year. And I do like to just kind of go around by myself, but get chatting to people. I like to, yeah, as each loop goes on, think, oh, I haven't spoken to this person, have a chat with them. And you might not speak to someone until kind of past 100 miles and then have a chat with them. And then it breeds familiarity and kind of you're all discussing how your race is going and your plans and stuff like that. But yeah, I think that's what I'll be doing really. I'll be doing my own thing and trying to get to know as many people as possible, finding out who the competition is. And I guess kind of as it gets later into the race, providing I'm still there, that's when you need to start thinking about tactics and things like that. But I think for the first day, it's just, getting around, meeting people, getting a feel for the course. And just take it as it goes.
Yeah, it's one of the things that I quite like about backyards, how it's for some people the tactics and the real race doesn't really start till like 24 plus hours in, which
Mm.
is 100 miles you've already run, and then you're thinking, okay, now it's time to start thinking about what the next step is. But yeah, it's quite exciting thinking that there's going to be a good chunk of you still going, and hopefully when people are watching this, it'll still be tiddling on into the small hours of the morning. Um,
Yeah, I think that's it because well, especially now we're having a live stream and things like that as well. Because people are going to be watching that, and you can't really tell what's going on in a backyard ultra at first anyway, because you've got so many numbers there. People might struggle to actually see their friends or family because they're just kind of just amongst just the big mass of people. Um, but then, yeah, as it kind of whittles down, yeah, you're gonna start to see the true runners who have actually got a bit of a goal in mind. And I think what another thing I like about it is you've got people go in who are just trying to do a marathon for the first time, or trying to do just 12 loops and things like that. But once you get to that 100 mark, you'll have a lot of people that think I need to do 24 hours, I'll do 100 miles, and then you get a big drop off there. I think that's quite common in backyard ultras. And then whoever's left after that, then I guess that's when the race starts, I guess, really, providing you can get through those and no freak kind of incidents happen, get through the first 24 hours, and then, then it begins. The advice I would give, well, I'd just say enjoy it firstly. Enjoy it, eat a lot, don't go too fast. Yeah, meet people and shock yourself. I think there's people who I've seen that have done a backyard ultra for the first time, and before that they'd never ran more than like a half marathon, and they've gone on and ran 100k or close on 100 miles, because at that sort of speed you only need to be averaging kind of 14-minute miles really, and providing you can get your kind of toilet and clothing change and food kind of top ups and stuff in between, you don't need to go that fast. You can walk a lot, you can just plod around, and it just gives everybody an opportunity to hit a personal best. And so you've got 150 people in that race all going for their own goal, and you won't get that in any other race type. So I'd say, yeah, just do it, and yeah, do it, plan, train, but yeah, most importantly, just smile and enjoy yourself. I would prefer a duck-sized horse, I think, really, because if they kind of kick back, the worst they're going to do is bruise your shin. Whereas you wouldn't want to get kind of bitten by the bill of a horse-sized duck. Yeah, no. And I imagine the quack would be pretty loud as well.